In the news this week, a BBC podcast exposes how public institutions have been captured by Stonewall ideology. Justin Welby and Gordon Brown oppose an attempt to legalise assisted suicide. And the Christian Institute pays tribute to Sir David Amos MP. Hello. Politicians, civil servants and public bodies across the UK have been found to have unquestioningly accepted misleading advice from the controversial lobby group Stonewall when shaping key policies. The BBC's Stephen Nolan and David Thompson uncovered the widespread influence of the lobby group on institutions through a series of freedom of information requests. Public bodies, including government departments, pay thousands of pounds to subscribe to Stonewall's Diversity Champions scheme, which rewards employers for promoting LGBT ideology inside and outside of the workplace. In his exposé, Nolan observed, "We found examples where government is essentially paying Stonewall to lobby it." Institute Deputy Director Kieran Kelly said Stonewall's capture of public institutions should concern us all.
What we have here is an unaccountable lobby group that is pushing radical gender ideology, that is dictating government policy. In Scotland, the Scottish Government has removed mother from guidance on maternity. In Wales, the Welsh Government has decided that gender identity is now a protected characteristic, and that's under the influence of Stonewall. So it's high time for our public servants to withdraw from these schemes that they're paying thousands of pounds to be involved with, and to shun Stonewall's misleading advice.
The Archbishop of Canterbury and Gordon Brown have both signalled their opposition to the legalisation of assisted suicide. Ahead of a debate in the House of Lords on Baroness Meach's assisted dying bill, Justin Welby, the Chief Rabbi and the Roman Catholic Archbishop of Westminster, wrote to peers to express their concerns. "We believe that the aim of a compassionate society should be assisted living rather than an acceptance of assisted suicide." And in an article in The Times, former Prime Minister Gordon Brown said the bill gets the balance wrong between individual autonomy and the sanctity of life. He said he fears that changing the law could lead to a slippery slope and that over time legislators, undoubtedly out of compassion and a desire to avoid suffering, would be unable to resist the erosion of the safeguards against the taking of life. Lord Robert Winston has said it is no longer possible to speak about biological reality without being targeted by trans activists. During a question time debate, the panel discussed a recent campaign of hate against gender-critical academic Professor Kathleen Stock at Sussex University. Hundreds of academics recently expressed support for the professor and called on the Equality and Human Rights Commission to protect other staff and students who recognise that sex matters from bullying and harassment. Lord Robert was asked for his views as a former university vice-chancellor, but he said he preferred to speak as a biologist.
I will say this categorically, that you cannot change your sex. Your sex actually is there in every single cell in the body, and we are very confused about this, unfortunately, and regrettably it's got into this argument that people are will now accuse me of being transphobic.
Well, obviously there are trans people who say you absolutely can do that.
Well, unfortunately, you can't say this publicly. This is one of the big problems. Even saying this on this programme undoubtedly will result in my getting a huge amount of hate mail. It always does. Of course we should accept people as they are. Overall, I think it's a very sad thing that we can't discuss biological science without actually getting completely caught up emotionally with something which is really completely wrong.
And finally, we take a moment to pay tribute to MP Sir David Amos, who was tragically killed last week. Sir David was stabbed to death on Friday as he met constituents in Leigh-on-Sea, Essex. A man has since been charged with murder. The well-liked MP was known as a champion for marriage, family and the sanctity of life since first entering the House of Commons as MP for Basildon in 1983. Tributes were led by the Prime Minister, who said Sir David was one of the kindest, nicest, most gentle people in politics. He was joined by Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer, who highlighted how Sir David's actions were informed by his Roman Catholic faith. The Christian Institute's director Colin Hart said he was deeply saddened by the news.
Sir David was a very strong pro-marriage and pro-life MP, and all his actions were consistent with that. He was a gentle character, well liked across Parliament, and the tributes that have been paid to him really show his character. We do pray for his family as they grieve at this time.
Well, that's all for this week. For more information on all of our stories, plus much more, visit our website at christian.org.uk. Until next time, goodbye.